Young women from Barrie are proving their strength in critical thinking, public speaking, and leadership. Logan, Lehman, and Camryn George of Barrie North Collegiate made local history as the first team for Simcoe County to win first place at the Ontario Secondary School Debating Union Bilingual Provincial Championship. Lehman placed first overall in the speaker ranking, with George close behind in second. The pair went on to represent region at national, finishing 17th in the country. Their achievement was formally recognized at Barrie City Council, where Mayor Alex Nuttall presented certificates and congratulated both students. Speaking with Simcoe Community Media, Lehman and George emphasized how debate builds confidence, critical thinking, and communication skills.
I would say my biggest strength is to be able to think of arguments from a lot of different sides, since I'll pick up on a lot of different really key and really kind of obscure things within other people's arguments, since she's a first speaker and I'm a second speaker, so her job is to really lay out and kind of explain what we're doing, and my job is to dissect the opponent's arguments and then refute what they're saying. So I think my main strength is to be able to find things in the argument and to be able to refute that really well, but she's always really helpful with that. And I'd say probably my biggest weakness up until a couple weeks before provincials, I wasn't feeling that confident.
They encourage younger students, especially girls, to get involved through school clubs and junior forums. They also highlighted that debate is accessible to all, with opportunities starting in grade 5 and continuing into university and beyond.
So for everyone, keep pushing, keep trying. If you are passionate about it, you have to throw yourself into it. You have to push for it. You have to keep going with it. For girls specifically, we've encountered our fair share of kind of mean teams. Even the team that we debated against at the end was pretty rude to us, and they were boys as well. It was a majority male competition.
It's a little intimidating sometimes.
It is,
you just gotta go in with confidence.
So honestly, fake it till you make it. If you can present yourself with confidence, even if you're so scared on the inside, presenting yourself with confidence has been one of the best things, because not only does that confidence come with me during my debates, but it's helped me outside of debate as well. And always stand by yourself. It's something that you have to take time and learn, but to stand to your point and to argue and to stand your ground and say, no, this is what I'm saying and I'm right and this is why. We've never had an experience where a judge has judged us because we were girls. Your argument will always be stronger in the face of adversity. So if you are a strong thinker and you think through your problems, you think through the motions that you're discussing, the judge will always see you for your argument and not for your gender, which is a great part of debate.
At the same council meeting, updates were received from several committees, including community, safety and affordability. Council approved multiple planning and development reports. Topics included encampment safety, new traffic lights, and pilot program to waive development charges for housing projects that include at least 20% affordable units. Council also passed update to the waste management bylaw to support the city new card-based collection system, including an assistant program for residents with disabilities. Several zoning bylaws amendments were also approved. Concerns were raised over communication and timing related to rollout of new garbage bins for multi-unit homes. Following is our interview and coverage of the meeting.
So we're here celebrating our first place overall win as a team at the OSDU Bilingual Debate Provincial Championship, as well as Camryn placing second overall as a speaker and myself placing first. And then we went to nationals.
Yeah, we went to nationals and we placed 17th in the country, and we were also the first team to ever compete in bilingual debate in Simcoe County, and we're the first team to ever win this award. Debate is something, it really teaches you a lot of confidence, and confidence is definitely the key when it comes to debate, because if you're really able just to talk to other people, it's to be able to think critically and convey a message with meaning. That's really the most important thing of it.
Yeah, if you want to get into debate, almost every school in Simcoe County has a debate club. If they don't, talk to a teacher because they're almost always open to it. It was pretty affordable to go down. It was like a 2-day overnight. We got to stay at a hotel. We got food and room and board and all that good stuff. So it's pretty accessible for the majority of people, as well as, just be confident. You're not always going to be right. You're not always going to win. Both of us have lost debate tournaments before this. It wasn't our first rodeo, but it was a pretty big achievement. It was just go into it with confidence and be proud of yourself, try your best, know what you're talking about, and you'll be good. So I did a junior debating they called it a debating forum with Simcoe County District School Board when I was in grade 8. But this year we got the opportunity to judge junior debaters, so grades 5, 6, 7, and 8. So there's a junior forum for 5s and 6s and a senior forum for 7s and 8s. So just if you're passionate about debate, if you see that your child is, pretty interested in talking or wants to argue, that's kind of where I got my start from. So just reach out to teachers at the school. If you're old enough to reach out for yourself, reach out for yourself. If you're a parent that wants to reach out. And there are lots of opportunities to do that starting in about grade 5 and then going all the way up to grade 12. And you can continue on in college and university too.
Especially at the start of high school, debate becomes even more accessible since it is often more established clubs within schools, since in a lot of elementary schools, they're not always as established. But in high schools, they are a lot more established, and even if they're not, there are a lot of other really good resources to help establish that. Like Barrie North has a really well-established debate program, and we have a lot of really good resources. And we're told to help other people and other schools help to establish that. So we kind of work together.
At provincials, we had one that was about imposing, you would or would not impose a sin tax on the consumption of meat. So you'd put an extra tax on it. We talked about the idolization of girl bosses. That was the final motion. And again, you get randomly assigned whether you're going to be pro or con, and you get about 20 minutes to prepare without technology, nothing else. It's just you, your thoughts, and a notebook. So the motion that we won on was about, do you think that the actions of President Nayib Bukele are in the best interests of the citizens of El Salvador?
Yeah, so that was a really interesting and hard motion to be able to do, and really for what kind of debate motions that you can get, they can really range depend on where you're going, what the competition is, and maybe even what language you're doing your competition in or what area you're doing it in, but it can really range from anything, whether that be politics, morality, it could even be some random like sci-fi related thing, like it could be
usually
totally
hypothetical. We have like a fun debate motion at the end of kind of our home tournaments that are like, one of our motions at practice was like, this house believes that Scrooge is better than Santa Claus as a role model. Like it really, really ranges between
But it's good to
everything.
be able to like stretch your brain and just think critically about a bunch of different subjects, so you're not really just focused on politics, since I think that's kind of a turnoff for some people on debate. They think, oh, I don't want to discuss politics and all this stuff, but it's really, there's so much other opportunities to be able to discuss so many other different things.
So there's usually judges, usually it's individual for lower kind of importance rounds, and then a panel of judges for higher importance rounds. So we had 3 judges at our final round in provincials and a little bit of an audience as well, which was kind of fun because usually you do it just you, the other team, and the judge. But they have usually they have like an evaluation form that has been pre-approved by the OSDU, which is like the overall Ontario debating union. So they kind of establish the criteria, and you can look at the criteria beforehand, but usually it's a lot of like your pace, how well you interact with the other team, how strong your points are, how realistic you are, kind of your hand gestures and your flow body language,
Another really important thing to be able to decide who wins the debate is an idea called clash, which is basically where the arguments are really coming together. So if one side says one thing and the other side says another thing, and that is how, like, what are the main things in this argument that you are discussing? Like, what is the main core idea of this argument? And then whatever side has the most reasonable and the one that's the most thought out and the most, the one that is the best argued and the one that makes the most sense to the judge, is usually the one that's the winner.
You split up the duties between 2 people. So there's a first speaker and a second speaker. You each speak for 8 minutes, and then the first speaker has a final like summary speech at the end, which I've always struggled with. And until I went into a tournament earlier this year before provincials, that really helped me understand like where my flaws were and where I could improve on. So clash and some of the ways to wrap up and really drive home why we won the debate over someone else was definitely something I struggled with. But my strength has always been kind of in my delivery of speech. speech, I think. I speak very strongly, and I go, even if I'm not right, I go into it with a lot of confidence, which, you know, in most situations would be bad, but in this situation is pretty helpful. But Camryn was always very helpful with making sure that I was getting my summary speeches in and hitting home all the most important points.
You've had a lot of growth, which is good.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say my biggest strength is to be able to think of arguments from a lot of different sides, since I'll pick up on a lot of different really like key and really kind of obscure things within other people's arguments, since she's a first speaker and I'm a second speaker, so her job is to really lay out and kind of explain what we're doing, and my job is to like dissect the opponent's arguments and then refute what they're saying. So I think my main strength is to be able to find things in the argument and to be able to refute that really well, but she's always really helpful with that. And I'd say probably my biggest weakness up until like a couple weeks before provincials, I wasn't feeling that confident with
She was very quiet with her first debates.
Yeah, I had like, before I really started getting into a lot of debate, I was super quiet and I was pretty shy. But after I started doing debate, things just started clicking and I became a lot more confident and especially a lot better at public speaking. So before that was a weakness of mine, but as I've done debate, it's progressively gotten a lot better. And so I think that's one thing that's really good.
So for everyone, keep pushing, keep trying. If you are passionate about it, you have to throw yourself into it. You have to push for it. You have to keep going with it. For girls specifically, we've encountered our fair share of kind of mean teams. Even the team that we debated against at the end was like pretty rude to us, and they were boys as well. It was a majority male competition,
it's a little intimidating sometimes.
It is,
just gotta
yeah.
go with confidence.
So honestly, like fake it till you make it. If you can present yourself with confidence, even if you're so scared on the inside, presenting yourself with confidence has been one of the best things, because not only does that confidence come with me during my debates, but it's helped me outside of debate as well. And always stand by yourself. It's something that you have to take time and learn, but to stand to your point and to argue and to stand your ground and say, no, this is what I'm saying and I'm right and this is why. The judge is, we've never had an experience where a judge has judged us because we were girls. Your argument will always be stronger in the face of adversity. So if you are a strong thinker and you think through your problems, you think through the motions that you're discussing, the judge will always see you for your argument and not for your gender, which is a great part of debate.
The best advice I have, just be as confident as you can and just try as hard as you can. And even if you come along with like different bumps in the road, you can definitely overcome those things if you just put your mind to it and you set your goals.
I'd like to welcome back former Mayor Jeff Lehman. Welcome back to council, sir. And I know you're a very proud dad tonight, so we'll get into that in a second. We're going to begin with the confirmation of the minutes, the first item on the agenda, and the minutes have been circulated for the City Council meetings held June 18th and July 23rd. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, they are adopted as printed. Which brings us to our awards and recognition this evening. And I'll start with the comments from down here, and then I'm going to go to the podium to present the certificates. But we'd like to congratulate and recognize Logan Lehman and Camryn George from Barrie North Central Collegiate debate team, placed first as a team at the Ontario Secondary School Debating Union, the OSDU, Bilingual Provincials, and were the first team in Simcoe County to win this award. Additionally, Camryn placed second overall in the top speaker portion, and Logan placed first overall speaker in the provincial competition as well. So on behalf of Barrie City Council, we'd like to congratulate Logan and Camryn on such a huge set of accomplishments this year and for representing our city and frankly the entire region so well and exceptionally. So if you'll join me down at the podium, I've got a couple of certificates for you, but yes, round of applause for our winners. Congratulations on behalf of the city, and we're all very, very, very proud of you. Are we able to do a photo together right behind you? Usually takes longer than that to get a good photo with me, so congratulations. It must be you. And to Camryn George, congratulations. Welcome to council. We'll just see things here. Good. Awesome. Logan and Camryn, is there anything you'd like to say before you go? Would you like to say anything before you go? Yeah, sure. Okay.
Do you want to start or do you want me to start? You can start. Okay. Overall, just thank you so much to Miss Turnbull and Miss Hofschmidt, Mr. Lottering, all the teachers that got us here, the teachers that took us to provincials, the Innisdale debate team because they took us there too, and Miss Hofschmidt especially because she took us to nationals as well, where we also placed 17th overall in the country for French debate specifically, because they didn't have bilingual debate. And then I placed 11th overall speaker, and you placed 20th? 20th, yeah, overall speakers. So that was really fun for us. It was a really big achievement for us being the first team ever to compete bilingually. And thank you to everybody at the city that made this possible, especially Amy. Amy Corso, she helped us get here, and thank you.
Yeah, we're just so grateful for all of the experiences that debate gave us and all the opportunities that we're given through this program.
Thank you.
Well, again, on behalf of the city, congratulations. This is that moment where I get to tell you, you can stay behind and watch the rest of the evening, or if you have better things to do, you can go home as well. But I'm going to leave that in your hands. So we'll take 2 minutes to let people leave the building. That's our next piece, which is deputations. Madam Clerk, can you just confirm for me there's no deputations online or requests that have come in?
There are no deputation requests or anyone online, Mayor Nuttall.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move past the deputations into the actual committee reports. I think that's you, Deputy Mayor.
It is. Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. Moved by myself, second by Councillor Nixon, that Section A of the General Committee Report dated August 13, 2025 be received.
It's moved by Deputy Mayor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Nixon, that Section A of the General Committee Report dated August 13th, 2025 be received. CSC 250611, report of the Community Safety Committee dated June 11th. AFF 250618, report of the Affordability Committee, dated June 18th, 2025. And OSC 250616, report of the Order of the Spirit Catcher Committee dated June the 16th, 2025. Are there any questions or comments on these motions? Seeing none. All those in favor? It carries.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Nixon, that Section B of the General Committee Report dated August 13, 2025 be adopted.
It's moved by Deputy Mayor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Nixon. The Section B of the General Committee Report dated August 13th, 2025 be adopted. CSC 1, Grove Street East and Johnson Street Signalization. AFF 1, Municipal Heritage Registry, 105 Sunnydale Road. DEV 029-25, Zoning Bylaw Amendment 159, Huronia Road. DEV 030-25, Zoning Bylaw Amendment 204, Dunlop Street West. DEV 031-25, Review of Control Crosswalk at Baldwin Lane and Marshall Street. DEV 033-25, Always Stop at Patterson Road and Morrow Road. ECD 006-25, Barrie Regional Technology Development Site Opportunity Update. FIN 012-25, Surety Bonds, and FIN 013-25, Development Charge Bylaw Amendment. Now, I just want to confirm all of those are coming into Section B. Is that correct?
Yes, Mayor Nuttall. Those are all the consent items.
Perfect, thank you. Any questions or comments with regards to the motions on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor? It carries. Deputy Mayor.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Nixon, that Section C of the General Committee Report dated August 13, 2025 be adopted.
It's moved by Deputy Mayor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Nixon, that Section C of the General Committee Report dated August 13th, 2025 be adopted. This is DEV 028-25, Official Plan Amendment and Zoning Bylaw Amendment applications for 70 and 76 to 80 Edge Hill Drive in Ward 4. Are there any questions or comments tonight at Council? Seeing none, all those in favor? It carries. Deputy Mayor.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Nixon, that Section D of the General Committee Report dated August 13th, 2025 be adopted.
It's moved by Deputy Mayor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Nixon, that Section D of the General Committee Report dated August 13th, 2025 be adopted. This is FIN 010-25, Development Charge Deferral Policy. Any questions or comments? I'm seeing none. All those in favor? It carries. Deputy Mayor.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Nixon, that Section E of the General Committee Report dated August 13th, 2025 be adopted.
It's moved by Deputy Mayor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Nixon, that Section E of the General Committee Report dated August 13th, 2025 be adopted. WMES 01-25 Waste Management Bylaw Update to align with the waste collection changes. Are there any questions or comments on this motion? Seeing none. All those in favor? And it carries. I think we're over to inquiries. Are there any? Oh, we have a direct motion. I'm sorry. I almost jumped past it. I should follow my notes. And I believe, Deputy Mayor, that's over to you.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. Moved by myself, second by Councillor Kungl. Further to motion 25G042, requesting staff to investigate the feasibility of installation of red light cameras, staff and development services and legislative court service department be authorized to sign a non-disclosure agreement in support of continuing to investigate this program.
It's moved by Deputy Mayor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Kungl, that further to motion 25-G-042, requesting staff to investigate the feasibility of installing red light cameras, staff and development services and legislative and court services departments be authorized to sign any non-disclosure agreements in support of continuing to investigate this program. Any questions or comments from members of council? Not seeing anything. We don't have anything online there as well, Madam Clerk? Perfect. Okay, all those in favor? And it carries. We're going to move into the consent agenda, right to the reports of reference, advisory or special committees. We have first the CSC 250611, the report of the Community Safety Committee dated June 11th, 2025. And I noticed that there's not an update piece in here in the agenda, but do you want to give an update there, Councillor?
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. The meeting was held, called into order at 4:49 p.m. on June 11th. And the issues we've covered were, we just accepted committee reference committee reports, and then dealt with ARU licensing framework discussion, as well as the long-awaited Grove Street East and Johnson Street East traffic light. And I believe I even gave kudos to Councillor Reba on that, because that was a long time coming, right? For those at home, he said, not me, and that is why I'm so old. End quote.
All right, so we've got CSC 1, the Grove Street and Johnson Street signalization in Ward 1. It's approved on consent. Then we have AFF 250618, report of the Affordability Committee dated June 18th, 2025. And is there an update? I don't know who chaired that meeting. Oh, Councillor Nixon. Perfect. It's over to you.
There we go. Now we have it. Okay. Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. Report of the Affordability Committee, which met on June 18th, 2025. We had the full membership of the Affordability Committee, as well as 3 other councillors present and 17 staff members. The committee met for the purpose of a public meeting at 6:07 p.m. To review zoning bylaw amendment regarding 264 Salem Road, file MDI R007-25. We had just one written comment from the Salem Landowners Group. We had one verbal presentation, however, the presenter did not appear. Their name was called twice. We also heard the report of the Heritage Barrie Committee dated May 27th, 2025, which was received. And also the Affordability Committee recommended adoption of the following recommendation listed as Section B, the Municipal Heritage Register for 105 Sunnydale Road. And the meeting was adjourned at 6:10 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor, for the update. And so we're on to that AFF1, Municipal Heritage Registry 105 Sunnydale Road. And the motion reads that the property located at 105 Sunnydale Road be added to the Municipal Heritage Registry as a listed property. That's approved on consent. We're moving on to 5.3, the report of the Order of the Spirit Catcher Committee dated June 16th, 2025. Is there anything that needs to be?
No, we just need to receive it. It was a confidential set of minutes.
Perfect. Seeing there's no one's holding it up, then we'll receive it. We'll move into staff reports, DEV 028-25. This is the official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment applications for 70 and 76 to 80 Edge Hill Drive, Ward 4.
Hold, please.
That's held by Councillor Corser. DEV 029-25 zoning bylaw amendment 159 Huronia Road in Ward 8. It's approved on consent. DEV 030-25 zoning bylaw amendment 204 Dunlop Street West in Ward 2. It's approved on consent. DEV 031-25 review of control crosswalk of Baldwin and Marshall Street in Ward 8. That's approved on consent. DEV 033-25 always stop Patterson Road and Morrow Road, Ward 6. That's approved on consent. ECD 006-25 Barrie Regional Technology Development Site Opportunity Update is approved on consent. FIN 010-25 Development Charge DC Deferral Policy Final.
Hold, please.
That's held by Deputy Mayor Thompson. FIN 012-25 Surety Bonds. It's approved on consent. FIN 013-25, the Development Charge Bylaw 2023-74 be amended to incorporate provincial grant funding. It's approved on consent. WMES 01-25 Waste Management Bylaw update to align with waste collection changes.
Hold, please.
That's held by Councillor Negussi. Okay, so we'll come back right away to Councillor Corser. The motion was DEV 028-25. So I'll leave it over to you. You got to put it on the floor before speaking to her or asking questions.
Okay, I'll put it on the floor as presented, as written. And through you, Mayor Nuttall, I'd like to ask a few questions of staff. Ms. Benfield, I've had some residents ask me questions about this because, as you can imagine, this project's gone through, this site has gone through several reiterations over the years and of plans going on that did not come to, and there's been a significant amount of time since the public meeting and today when we're putting this on the table. So I do have some questions I'd like to ask. My first question would be the impacts on environmental protected lands. I understand that there was, the developer has given more of the development. You could explain what they're doing with the environmental lands on that place, in that location?
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Corser. So anytime there's a development application that has environmentally protected land, through the development process, it's evaluated, it's sized, and that land is dedicated to the city at the time of the final approvals.
Thank you. So there's been no removal of extra environmental lands there at all.
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Corser, sometimes there is the refinement of the area where the mapping doesn't necessarily align with what's on the ground. So typically that's done through the development process.
Okay, and the privacy and light impact on 90 Edgehill, the Gateway Cooperative, has that been researched, assessed by, been studied?
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, I'm going to ask Mrs. McLaren to answer the question on that technical matter.
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Corser. That's a site plan related matter, so there may have been some preliminary details provided about the lighting, exterior lighting on the site, but that will be dealt with through a subsequent approval through the detailed design and site plan.
Okay, thank you very much. And traffic studies have been, I take it, fall along those same lines at the impact of traffic at Ann and Edgehill because it's a significant intersection.
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Corser. Yes, there was a traffic study that was submitted in support of the application. Transportation planning staff have reviewed it and have no concerns. As part of the proposal, there is a requirement to upgrade or fully urbanize this portion of Edgehill Drive with a full municipal cul-de-sac for fire protection, fire turnaround as well. So that will happen. And there will also be a separate access provided over the adjacent cooperative building site also for additional access for fire safety. Emergency services safety.
Safety first, thank you. And my last question would be regards to Vine Crescent, that is at the crest of the hill behind where this development is going in. And I'm wondering what impacts and privacy issues have been addressed with the residents on Vine Crescent that overlook the area there.
Thank you again, through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Corser. This building has been designed such that there would be appropriate articulation to the building to provide appropriate separation between the existing cooperative building. The site, as I'm sure you're aware, has quite a difference in elevation from the top at the north end at Vine Crescent to Edgehill Drive. So the building's been designed to kind of fit into the slope. So there may be approximately 4 stories at the top end of Vine Crescent that they would see overlooking, but it wouldn't be like they're looking at a 16-story tower at the maximum point. So the building transfers, there's a 12-story building on the western side, or 12-story tower on the western side. The center podium is about 16 stories, and the easterly tower is 14 stories. So at the highest point, which is closest to Edgehill Drive, it's 16 stories, but like I said, it's significantly lower than Vine Crescent, so they may see through all the trees that are there, because I think there's more than half of the property would be conveyed to the city for environmental protection, so they may see a portion of the top of the building, but it shouldn't be that exposed for sure.
Thank you, and that's all the questions I have. Thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments with regards to the motion on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor? And it carries. Now we're going to go into our next item, which I believe was Deputy Mayor Thompson, if I'm recalling correctly without looking at my notes. And I'll pass it over to you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. I'll put the motion on the floor as printed, and I have an amendment.
Go ahead.
That for any new building permit application for residential developments that are 5 stories and above, with a signed agreement to provide at least 20% affordable housing defined by CMHA, received between August 14th, 2025 to December 31st, 2025, with building activity to commence before May 31st, 2026, the city residential development charge be waived for a total waive not to an upset limit of 30 million. And further, that this pilot program does not apply to active developments where conditional or full building permits have already been issued. And I can speak to that.
Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. So Mayor Nuttall, I got to give you all the credit, like where you've been working with the community of, the development community and residents and the province, and you've thrown so much spaghetti against the wall to try to find ways to spur on development. And, you've come up with a plan here where we recommend or we suggest, I think we're up to 15% affordable. But it's just a suggestion. It's not mandatory, where this is a mandatory 20% affordable housing. And, Councilor Reitman brought up conversation in, regard to geared to income. And I know this isn't the same as geared to income, but it's a step in the right direction. And I believe this model will be probably something that a lot of municipalities will look at, for the simple reason we are seeing no development occur right now. Permits aren't being built, which is just, compounding the problem that we spent an hour talking about, affordability. And trust me, I saved comment on that earlier. I don't believe a house would solve that problem for all, but I think it's a good start. And I just think that this is this council's direction. We've always talked about affordability and trying to do everything we possibly can. I think this achieves it in creating an environment. We don't build, but we create the environment to build. And I think we're trying something new.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. As you know, we've had many conversations about this, and I've just realized there was a fleeting issue that I didn't identify and we didn't put into this, which was that staff investigate 50% of the taxation created from these going back to the development charge account, so that we don't go into a deficit position permanently. And I think that we together.
Yes. So, Madam Clerk, did you catch that wording that 50% of the taxation go into the DC account until it's repaid? And I'll take that as a friendly.
Through Mayor Nuttall to Deputy Mayor Thompson, that is more than a friendly. It would be an additional amendment, I would think. But you can withdraw your amendment and just reintroduce it and add that paragraph to the end.
I withdraw my original amendment and I will put forward another one.
Seems friendly to me. Questions or comments around the table on this?
I've already withdrawn.
Councillor Corser. No, the actual newly presented motion.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to I guess Mr. Thompson, Councillor Thompson, is there any guarantee that these affordable units will be held for a lengthy period of time? Could they go ahead with this and these opportunities and claim to have these units and then take them off the market as affordable in 5 years?
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Corser. I'm not the expert on this, but we did some research. I believe rental is 20 years, but I would look to Ms.
The
Banfield.
CMHC program, in order to qualify, and that's why it's referenced in there, is a 20-year period. Yeah. So it's not permanent, so we shouldn't tell ourselves it's permanent, but it does create stock for 20 years.
Thank you. I believe I suspected that. I just wanted to confirm that it was true. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Do you guys mind if I geek out very quickly on why this makes sense?
Go for it.
So there's a possibility that nobody says yes to this, okay? And I just want to really, really, really communicate that, over-communicate that. Bob, did you hear that? And if no one says yes to this, then I think that what we're proving is that we don't have a development charge problem. We have a market problem. And the market problem is construction costs plus, instability thanks to friends in the South. And, maybe DC's is part of the equation. Maybe it's part of the equation here. Maybe it's more part of the equation where, you know, you have $250,000 for a single family dwelling. But right now, we have to ask the county to go and create the affordable housing. And so we go to the taxpayers, we say, please give us the money to give to the county to do the thing. And if you take the overall cost per unit of the last three developments, the one in Barrie, the one in Bradford, the one in Aurelia, sorry, not Oro, and you look at the cost per unit, like it is exorbitant. And when you take the fact that the city of Barrie is on the hook for 25% of it, it's still exorbitant. So it'd be interesting to see what buildings, if any, come forward with this. And then we can take what the outgoing costs are that we had to essentially subsidize by waiving DCs to get those 20% units built, and then compare it to what we pay the county and see if there's a more efficient way to get affordable housing built. The other piece that's really interesting is after the county builds, they then ask us for money to do things like maintain the property, pay the interest, administrative charges, and all of those in this scenario that's being presented are borne by the developer, not borne by the taxpayer. And so while there may be a similar or lower capital cost in the approach that we're talking about taking here, if anyone says yes, there is 100% a lesser operating cost on an annual basis by trying to do this. And the final piece that I'll pitch to the public on this is that instead of going back to the taxpayer who's currently here, this is actually essentially borrowing from the development community because they're the ones who own the funds inside of the development charge account, not us, and using that to create affordable housing rather than just using taxpayer money. And I hope that it works, because if it works, I think it's something that could revolutionize the way that we actually do affordable housing, not rent geared to income, but affordable housing, which is one piece of the many things that need to happen. And we've heard over and over again the amount of affordable housing that is needed out there. So if this passes, thank you to our staff team, because I know this is a stretch. I get that. I know that this isn't something that you would just wake up in the morning and go like, yeah, let's go use the DC account to come up with a way to get some affordable housing and some buildings built, because it feels counterintuitive to everything that's inside the DC bylaws and background studies and the Municipal Act. But throw a Hail Mary or spaghetti, to use the Deputy Mayor's analogy. Somebody has to clean up the wall. It's never the politicians, it's always the staff. So I hope you don't have to clean up the wall on this one, and I hope that it's very successful, but at least we're trying something. And at the very least, if nothing happens, it just shows the public this ain't a development charge issue. It is a macro market issue, which I think we can all probably agree it is right now, but it's nice to have proof points. So I will call the vote on the motion brought forward by Deputy Mayor Thompson. I thank you for the work on this, Deputy Mayor, and all those in favor. And it carries. Are there any other amendments to the DC piece? Seeing none, this is by itself. Without that, this is also really good stuff to hopefully spur on housing and all different types of housing going forward. So, yeah, Deputy Mayor.
Just a comment through you, Mayor Nuttall, that I remember in your first speech in your, like, when we talked about the affordability and the change in your life and ownership, and I just would be remiss if I didn't mention that you spent days on trying to find a way also to see if there was something that could translate from rental to ownership through this program. So I just throwing spaghetti against the wall is a loose term and stuff, but through CAO and finance and Miss Banfield, sorry, this is probably consumed, 3/4 of the summer break for yourself and, others. So I just want to thank you on this, and let's hope there is an uptake and we actually see the housing numbers grow. So just that comment.
Yeah, thanks, Deputy Mayor. It would be really nice if there was a way to encourage local home ownership, but it's just not available yet. Okay, with that, we'll call the vote on the main motion as amended. All those in favor? And it carries. And we'll move on to the final item that was held, and that's from Councillor Negussi. It is WME S01-25, Waste Management Bylaw Update to align with waste collection changes. Over to you, Councillor.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. I'm going to put the motion on the floor as printed. I would like to thank Ms. Mack for coming to our Senior and Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting to discuss the recent service change. As a chair of this committee, engagement like this always appreciated, and I just want to say thank you very much for your time. Great report. I'm happy the city is launching assisted waste collection program this fall to help residents with disability manage waste cart. And my question is, Ms. Mack, can you briefly explain about the program for residents with temporary or permanent physical disabilities and in what circumstance it would apply?
Thank you, and through you to Councillor Negussi. First of all, we did appreciate being at the advisory committee to talk about waste collection. We understand it is an important service that we provide, and we're really pleased to hear the feedback and the discussion at the committee. I think that the key message here is we're here to help. And I know that seems fairly simple, but through this process, we have been finding that there's specific circumstances where we really need to talk to the property owner, to the resident, to understand what is needed. I think first off the top, I will just say that the offering of the 120 liter, the smaller garbage cart, has been really helpful for people. Mm-hmm. I know even as I've talked to residents that the ability to exchange the garbage cart for the smaller one has been a tool that we're finding has been really effective. Another thing that's interesting is that circumstances have changed since March when we opened or when we closed the registry. And so I would say if you're hearing of residents that are concerned, they missed the window, to give us a call. We are waiving, as outlined in the report, the cost for exchanges until the end of the year in order that we would facilitate the exchanges and help people. Because I know there's lots of concerns out there, and test and to use the cart and see how it goes over the fall. The more formal program, just really for those with a permanent or temporary disability, will be a more structured, formal process to apply. So there will be an application very similar to, we have a medical bag tag program where staff here will look at, is there someone else within the home that can move the carts to the curb? Or really, do we need the contractor to provide that assistance? It will be a form that will ask for information, avoiding the personal kind of details, but really look at how can we best help, and will the contractor and the service that they offer be helpful for that property? The best would be to call Service Barrie, have a resident call Service Barrie if they feel that they're in that that application process would be of help for them. And like I said, we're here to help with that.
Amazing. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
Councilor Morales.
Thank you, Acting Mayor Thompson. Ms. Mack, I've got a few questions for this. And before I start, through you, Acting Mayor Thompson, I've never met somebody more passionate about garbage or waste management. That's not an insult. Don't integrity commissioner me, please. And I say that incredibly. Like, you have an engineering, you have a project management brain, you have a director. It's quite something. So this is not an easy rollout of a program. It's been said in politics before. People care about what's happening at their house, maybe the pipes, and then to the road. And if you mess up the garbage, good luck. Now, that said, I do have some very specific concerns about this, and this is similar to the comment Mr. Prescott, is not to you personally, but I do have some concerns with the schedule on this. So before I get into this specifically, I'm a little bit concerned about the fact that this report is coming here now, and the fact that a lot of residents, specifically the North End, Ward 1, 2, 3, like Ward South End starting to get them, like now, Ward 7, 9, but the North End got them months ago. Yet we didn't approve, the number of them. Now, that's not going to affect 90% of the houses, but I'm talking about the duplexes, the triplexes, the existing ones, not even proposed ones that could be built. So duplexes and triplexes would have gotten, 2 garbage carts and 2 organics carts. Yet we haven't approved the schedule of this. That very much, in my interpretation, is putting the cart before the horse, because the rollout of the actual inventory got deployed. I understand it takes time, but it got deployed before the approval of council to do this. So in theory, if we were to change the numbers on Schedule E, that's page 21, to anybody following, we have a situation where 10, 15, 20% of lots out there would need a revision. Good luck with that. So could I get an understanding of, I'm not trying to put blame, I'm trying to understand what, besides the fact that it takes time to get it out there. If that meant that this report needed to come in Q2, then so be it. And if there was a reason, again, I would like to know why. If that meant that the rollout would have had to happen later, then so be it. But is there a reason why we're in the situation where, as a member of council, if I have an issue with this number now, it's almost too little too late, at least for that 10, 15% of units out there?
Through you to Councillor Morales. So the service levels, that is actually a really interesting question. And the service levels presented in the schedule within the bylaw are based on the staff report that came forward last September, when we talked about the service levels, the number of carts, especially for the multi-unit properties. There was a staff report that looked at multi-unit properties, multi-residential servicing, and also the IC&I cart provision. Pleased to review that with you or provide more information on that. But I believe it was a two-parter. We came forward with a report on the service levels and then followed up with some information on the costing implications for provision of carts, multiple carts for the 2 to 5 unit properties.
Thank you for that. So my understanding of that report, because I remember approaching Mayor Nuttall within days of that report and going, hey, can you give me like 2 hours of your time and you can sit here and go line by line? And he goes, that's a while a ways now. We haven't approved this. So the point being is that report, everything you just said is obviously accurate, but we hadn't, that was a proposal, if you will. That was a draft. So tonight's the approval. So while we've already seen the numbers, a conversation, because I was right on top of this and said this is something that needs, like specifically the ratios and the numbers need to really be done for many reasons. For property enforcement, if you're a neighborhood that's concerned about the visual clutter, the Schedule E is important. If you're looking at it from a waste diversion perspective, if you're an environmentalist, Schedule E is important. If you like aesthetics and urban design, Schedule E is important. So I was told then that that was the draft. And yes, I had seen those numbers, but they're not being approved until tonight. So right now, for example, if I move an amendment, I'm putting the city in a really awkward situation. I even just saw some heads move up. I don't want to do that for the sake of doing that. I'm just in a situation where I'm wondering why we rolled out the physical cards before getting council approval on Schedule E.
Through you to Councillor Morales. The intention of the staff report last September was to really seek direction from council on the number of carts, because it informed the cart order. I believe within that report, we did indicate that those service levels or the number of carts would be provided as part of a bylaw to come forward. again, the bylaw is coming forward at this time. Should council like us to go back and look at those service levels, especially for the 2 to 5 unit properties, we're pleased to do that at the will of council.
I appreciate that. I'm trying to think of another department, like if we did that with the zoning bylaw, if we start doing enforcement on new zoning bylaw, applying the new ones before it actually came into place, even though there's already the expectation that certain things are probably not going to nudge, that would be more concerning. So I'm just trying to treat all departments fairly on this, and I don't want to be in a situation where we do that. But this is, members of council, in case you're wondering, it's like, why is he going on about garbage on this one? Here's one specific one that I actually have concern for. And again, I'm in an impossible situation, because if we move in amendments on this, what are we going to do? Go pay money to grab them from people's garages? So from environmental sustainability through correspondence, a 120-liter garbage receptacle is equivalent to about 2 standard black garbage bags. So what we have now. So the smaller one is, the smaller garbage receptacle is equivalent to what we have now. The 240-liter garbage cart one, which is the standard one that people got, you opted down to the small one. You didn't opt up to the big one. In writing here, is equivalent to 4 standard black garbage bags. On biweekly pickup, we just increase garbage pickup by 100%. So that is concerning. In addition, if we were to do that, I personally would have opinions that a 2-unit residential unit, so a duplex, should be not get 2 garbage bins, should get 1. Or they could, for privacy reasons, separation, get 2 smaller ones. So they don't have the option of getting 2 bigger ones. So this is very nuanced. And maybe there was a bit of a breakdown in communication, and I'll totally own that. I either bug you too much or not bug you enough. But I've never seen another logistics, whether it's a zoning bylaw or a budget, where the rollouts of thousands of these products go. And then now, if I move an amendment that says that for 2-unit residential units, that only the up to two 120-liter bins be accepted, that's problematic, because a lot of these units, the ones that we know of, have already gotten 2 large bins. And I would have also treated 5 residential units differently. They would have gotten 3 garbage carts, but 3 and 4 would have lived in the 2 garbage carts. So with one of those being up to 240 liters. So there's lots of nuance, and it's important. If people kind of lost me there for a little bit, it's very simple. Right now, we let a residential unit get 2 bags. If we approve Schedule E as it is, we just upped it to 4 bags. I've been telling residents for 11 years that biweekly pickup was to reduce garbage pickup, and we just, by me following that logic, we just undid 11 years of work. Now, it'll be cleaner. We're having trouble recruiting people to actually do it manually. The cards make sense. I love the cards. But the sizing of them and having the Schedule E not be slightly, and it's easy to look at this and go, well, it's simple to understand. The nice thing is, once you get it once right, how often do you replace your cards? And if you do, you just go get another one. So I think this should have been fleshed out a little bit more. And why it, essentially, I'm in a really frustrating situation, because I would love to move an amendment, whether it passes or not. But that is essentially puts staff in an extremely awkward situation. But we are essentially increasing by 100% our garbage pickup. Hey, Mayor Nuttall, you missed. Now, I'll pivot to a question here, through you, Mayor Nuttall. The recycling Schedule E not provided by the City of Barrie. Luckily, that's not it wasn't the City of Barrie's fault. Could you maybe, for those watching at home or for the members of council, I'm sure you've heard from residents, why am I getting waste and organics, but I'm not getting the recycling bin? So could you maybe go into a little bit of the technical and legislative detail into that, Ms. Mack?
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Morales. Yes, so the city program is provision of garbage, organics, yard waste, special collections, which would be batteries, textiles. On May 1st, 2024, with the start of our new contract, we also transitioned our Blue Box recycling program. It isn't a City of Barrie thing, it is a provincial program. Lots going on there. There's also some information information provided to council on that, on the blue box regulation. The province is actually gearing up for an interesting time. January 1st, 2026, the full rollout will occur across the province. And it's lots going on when it comes to recycling. The carts or provision of recycling carts will be at the discretion of Circular Materials. They are referred to as a producer responsibility organization, who are looking after the entire provincial collection system.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And what I'll follow up with that is, Mayor Nuttall, I don't know if you've heard it or other members of council, but we're in a situation where people are on the totality, maybe not 100%. They're pleased about the bins, or they're going to make do with them. And I go, why aren't I getting it for the recycling? That's the one that really would get the benefit, because a lot of people have the shorter blue bins. Some people have gotten the taller ones, but these other ones are more, they work better in garages. They work better in side yards that are behind fences. And I know you already have a lot of issues that are pressing, Mayor Nuttall, with big city mayors, many issues. This one is one of, the reason I bring this up is the success of a program is how easy you make it for people to adapt and look into it, and not through the fault of the city. Here we have a situation where we say, adopt it for your organics, which we already have a bin. It's not as large as the ones people are getting, and adopt it for your garbage, which for some people we're replacing the bin they got from a local store, but not for the recycling. And if we're really working towards diversion, which is specifically paper and plastic, is easy to do. Organics is yucky for people. They should do it for everything, but that's the low-hanging fruit, the easy one to do. I think this is a systemic issue on the fact that the province essentially is not requiring our waste provider. And I wonder, in a perfect world, this just would be a requirement. I know there's a cost. Well, do it once, and let's do it properly, because I don't want this to come back in 2 years and we wonder why the metrics weren't where they were. Is there anything that the city of Barrie could do to force them, /compel them, /encourage them? You can take that question where you want, Ms. Mack.
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Morales. Not to get into the garbage technical aspects of cart collection for recycling, it actually has to do with single stream versus dual stream. So right now, the city of Barrie, you separate out your paper and your plastic. Provision of carts actually changes how they collect it. So then they'll mix it together. As I understand the complexities of this for Circular Materials, they have to ensure that there is enough capacity to process what they call what we all call single stream recycling. So there is some technical behind the scenes thought to whether or not different municipalities are provided carts. We have heard that there are other municipalities throughout Ontario that are moving to carts for recycling as part of getting ready for the January transition. But again, that will be up to Circular Materials. They understand the system, and they'll make those decisions accordingly.
Thank you for that. And I've even seen our local waste managing company, they have their own carts that they give to like existing multiplexes, that kind of sixplex kind of thing. They have them out there, and I'm sure the landlords have acquired them. So they're able to do this logistically. And finally, and I'm trying to understand this, why did we even consider a 240-liter cart size option? Again, the easy way liters are confusing, just the big one is 4 garbage bags. So we're increasing garbage, the bad one, collection by 100%. So why was that something that was even considered from the get-go, even for single-family attached homes? Because
so Councillor, I got to push back a little bit here, and the reason I got to push back is because this decision was actually not made by this council; it was made by the last council to go out and change the way that we were doing this, and then come back with whoever was going to win the bid, and then we inherited the bid on this council.
I'm talking about the sizing.
But these decisions were not actually made by us. Like the actual decisions to change to the big bins and all these things were previous decisions. And then we've had 2 or 3 reports since then outlining what was happening all the way. We're now 16 days, 18 days. How long are we?
To September 8th, so not very long.
How many days is that? 20 days, 28 days till these things are being used for pickup. Mm-hmm. And we're creating an issue on the size of them today. But I've been at like 7 town halls where they've been shown. Like, why are we doing this today?
Mayor Nuttall, respectfully, when you stepped outside, the answer to your question was there, which is we essentially, Mayor Nuttall, I'm not questioning the decision to move towards what we call wheelie bin, the informal name. I'm not questioning that. That was done. There's many PowerPoints and presentations. If I had any issue, right? What I'm saying is, in theory, if a councilor were to do either an amendment or if we rejected this, staff just gave out bins that didn't have the council ratification of doing that. We don't do that with other initiatives. So this is the one. So in terms of the specifics of the sizing and then the ratios, I'm not bringing into question the transition to garbage pickup like this from the previous council. It's specifically to the ratio. So moving forward, I want to bring this up now, not in an email or in a hallway conversation, because I want to never be in a situation where staff is put in a situation where if council were to amend the report that was never approved, that it would be a logistical nightmare. So on the sizing of the weight capacity, I'm just curious as to why.
Point of order. Just a point. Sorry, not a point of order. A point of clarity.
That's not a thing. It's not in the procedure bylaw.
So I'm going to run the table, not anyone else. First of all. Second of all, if there's a piece of clarity, like I don't know what I missed when I was out there dealing with a call from the province, but if there's an issue that needs to be identified that is pertinent to what's happening on the 8th or 9th or whatever that is, like let's deal with that. If there's things that we're now coming back with after years and literally, I think it was last September, October, we started showing the bins around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're almost a year after I knew what the size of the bin was.
But we didn't know if the duplexes or triplexes were getting 2 or 3 or what the ratios were. So that's another part of the discussion.
No, that's actually incorrect. There was a request for, and I know this because I failed at it, to, if you have additional units, to let the city know. And then they would be able to provide the necessary pieces. And it was circulated everywhere. All of these things were publicly pushed out, approved by council. Previously. You had until May 30th? Right? To March 30th. And I know because I was one of the bad ones.
Mayor Nuttall, if you give me the grace, and you can feel free to say no on this, I'm not going to be rude, I'm just going to be blunt. I think it'll save me speaking, which will probably make everyone happy. We shouldn't be approving this report after the bins went out. Specifically on this table 1 of Schedule E, for the duplexes and triplexes that will have a lot of the north end neighborhoods and even some of the south end neighborhoods be concerned about where to store them. Because I know we've changed the technicalities on what we allow, but let's be honest, that is the nitty gritty where that we should have approved that. If this had been approved in April, I would have point of ordered myself 2 seconds into speaking into this because I should have done my homework or not put up my hand against at that time. I just don't moving forward because this is solution oriented. I don't think any department, regardless of that, should be in a situation where if somebody moves an amendment right now to Schedule E, what are we going to do? Go collect 5,000 bins?
I think what I view this as is the regulations changes associated with the previous decisions that we've already made. And I could be completely wrong, but I think that's what you're seeing here. If there was a requirement to change, like if you're asking for more time prior, because we'd already approved the bins.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So what you're saying now is what you're seeing right now is the regulations based on our approvals being moved forward. If you're asking for those to be done months, not weeks in advance in the future, I think our staff team can take that away and run with it. And that might be just like fair commentary. So if that's the point, I think our CAOs heard that and we can take that away.
You have an Sergio interpretation chip. You need to share it with members of council because you understood that issue better than maybe I even tried to communicate it. And I'm really trying to be optimistic on this. I think the very thing that the previous council got through the pipeline, which is the wheelie bins. I think it's a great concept. I think it's been successful. I think it's going to work. I have holdups on the sizing, especially with duplexes, because duplexes are now 8 bags in theory every 8 weeks. And if a resident asks me, you know, a sweet old lady on Country Lane goes, "You made me go to bi-weekly pickup because it was going to cut down, and now yes, they do talk like that. These duplexes, those people are going to put out 8 garbage bags. Why don't I get 8 garbage bags?" So it's a complicated one, and you know, this will be an ongoing file, if you will.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. And just for myself, because I think there just needs to be a little bit of clarity in this, maybe through you to the clerk. In the original motion, I believe in September, I believe there was delegated authority for staff to enact the schedule that we talked about with the bins and the sizes and the quantities. And this is basically just the bylaw for all that meeting in the September. If you could read the motion.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Through Mayor Nuttall to members of council. The recommended motion essentially says that it's pretty small, so bear with me for a few minutes, that the waste collection servicing guidelines for industrial, commercial, and institutional residential properties with 2 to 5 units and multi-residential properties outlined in the general committee report, then the title of the report, be approved. That staff align the implementation of the updated waste collection servicing guidelines for IC&I residential properties with 2 to 5 units, multi-residential properties, with the preparation and rollout of automated waste cart collection set to commence on September 8th, 2025, and that the relevant bylaws, including the waste management bylaw, be updated to reflect the servicing guidelines outlined in this staff report.
So we voted on a motion that said that it would be updated as staff felt necessary. Yeah, I'll leave it there, but I just think that it's the 11th hour where we have had multiple meetings and basically giving delegated authority. The motion and all the meetings and the discussion, and I know there was lots of discussion around the multiplex, the commercial properties. So I'll leave it there, but I'll be supporting the motion.
Okay, any other questions or comments on this item? Councillor Corser.
In appreciation of the time, I just wanted to ask a quick question of staff through you, Mayor Nuttall. What's the lifespan of the bins? Do we know what the lifespan of the bins are typically?
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Corser, that's a great question. You know, perhaps in theory 10 years, right, with the length of the contract, but I can tell you, I hope after this rollout that we get more than 10 years out of the carts. We see that with our multi-residential carts that are already in use, that they really do last a long time. And I'll just put a little bit of a message in that, just to say that if there is an issue with the carts or with the wheels, that our contractor will be responsible to repair those.
And if I could to follow up with that, because it has been quite some time since we've had these discussions, who mandated the size of the bins? Was that our decision, was the size of the municipal, like the council's decision for the size of the bins, or was that something put forward by the provincial government?
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Corser. So to clarify, the 120-liter cart is just under what would be a standard 2 bags of garbage. The 240-liter is perhaps a little bit more. So when you look at sizing of the carts, the 240-liter is usually selected to align with that 2-bag biweekly limit, obviously depending on how big your garbage bag would be. I can also say, just because we have the data on how many property owners have chosen the 120 liter, we are pleased to see that a lot of property owners throughout the city say that they can live on the 120 liters worth of garbage. So, and that would be a little bit under 2 bags.
If I may just, so in the future, 10 years is a long time, we'll have maybe further discussions, opportunities to consider doing mandatory downsizing, as that's conversations that we could have in the future, correct?
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Courser. 10 years is a long time in a waste management system and for programs. We don't know really what the future holds. You know, you look at things like AI and all the advances in technology. 10 years, we'll probably be having lots of different discussions about technology, trucks, curbside, the next contract. So to answer your question, we would be bringing forward recommendations before the next contract is let. These are long contracts, 10 years to align with the lifespan of the trucks, but we would be bringing forward any information decisions regarding cart sizes to the next council. Thank you.
And just if I may, the lifespan, I know that there are pressures on our landfill, so this is an interesting conversation to have, actually. And I would really look forward to having further conversations as this project moves forward about how maybe we can mitigate the amount of garbage that is being collected. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Courser. Any other? Oh, wait, hold on. Actually, we have Councillor Harvey online. Maybe. Councillor? He did mention before that he was having difficulty with. There he is.
Can you hear me? Oh, there we go.
How are you?
I guess we had to wait for the screens to merge before my volume started working. But yeah, no, just to put this into a little bit more context, as I was quickly having a look to see what the volume in retail garbage cans that people are using right now, and even a small garbage can is 80 liters. And for those that have bought the larger retail ones that have 2 small wheels on them, they're 121 liters a piece. And you're allowed to put 2 of them out as it is now. So I don't see that this new program is permitting any additional garbage because the volume is actually the same as what we permit right now if you were to get 2 of the larger retail garbage cans. Obviously, whether that's a allowable amount for the future, that's a whole other conversation, but I don't understand how staff are taking the brunt of it today as to why they're permitting the size of cans that we are permitting, especially since we've had this conversation a few times over the past 2 councils. So I definitely will support this.
Now, Councillor, before we accept your remarks, I have to ask if you've been screeched in yet.
No, I have
Don't
not.
answer that. Don't answer that on television or whatever we're on, YouTube. Okay, so thank you for your comments. Any other questions or comments with regards to this motion? I'm seeing none. So we'll call the vote on the motion. I don't think has there been any amendments? No, perfect. Been any amendments? So we'll call the vote on the motion as it's written. All those in favor? And it carries. There's a separate report's been requested by Councillor Morales. And we will move on to nothing because we're going to do with the inquiries and announcements this evening. So we're going to do a circulation list. June 25th, 2025. Is there any items? July 2nd, sorry, 2025. Are there any items? July 9th, 2025. Are there any items? July 16th, 2025. Are there any items? Okay. July 23rd, 2025. Are there any items? July 30th, August 6th, and August 13th. Perfect. So we are adjourned.